Hi everybody, welcome to this video. My name is Florence. So in today's video, I'm going to give you some gift ideas if you have somebody in your family who likes drawing and who likes art. So as I practice watercolor, most of my advice will be in the field of watercolor, but some of the advice can fit other mediums like gouache or colored pencils and pen and ink, for example. So let's begin. So I think that one great gift idea, if you have somebody who likes drawing and who likes watercolor, is to replace their supplies, because art supplies are generally quite pricey, and of course when they practice art their supplies are going to run out. So a good idea could be to replace the supplies that they have finished. So for example, you could ask them if they have colors that they would like to replace in their selection. So I would recommend you to buy some artist grade watercolors or artist grade paints or colored pencils, whatever the technique you prefer or the technique they prefer. But I think that artist grade art supplies give you a nicer feeling when you use them. They're more convenient and they have something that is more satisfying and more effortless than student grade quality. But sometimes I understand that it can be quite expensive. So what I would advise you to do is simply to buy maybe 2 or 3 colors that they might like. So last year, for example, for Christmas, I asked my husband to offer me some watercolor in tubes that were artist grade quality, because I had a set of watercolor that was student grade. I had one from Van Gogh and I had a very small one from Winsor and Newton Cotman. But I wanted to try some artist grade supplies to try to upgrade my work a little bit. And I was very happy to be gifted those watercolors. And they are magical. I really love them. So I keep them in here. And I have several brands. So there are several brands that I can recommend. Of course, there are other artist grade brands, but I've never used them. So I'm only going to talk about the ones I know and I have tried. So I like Daniel Smith, but they're probably the most expensive from my little collection. Then I would also recommend Winsor and Newton, but Winsor and Newton artist grade, not the Cotman line, which is a student grade. If you want to offer paints that are from student grade because artist grade are too expensive, then I would recommend Van Gogh over Cotman. Then there is also Schminke. So I can't find the tube from Schminke, but Schminke is also a good brand. It is a German brand, and if you're in Europe, you may be able to order watercolor from Roman Schmoll. It is a fairly recent brand, and as a result, it is less expensive than the other brands that I mentioned earlier that are more traditional. And they have really nice colors, they are very vibrant and very pleasant to use. And from a price standpoint, they're almost priced in the same way as some student grade watercolors. So they have very nice kits with a few colors, like 8 colors, and they are something around, I don't know, 25 to 30 euros, depending on where you are. And it is with a box. So I think it can be quite interesting, and they are very good quality. So I would recommend those brands, but there are other brands they could try, like Sennelier, for example, or Blocks, or there are many others. So if you want to make sure it is a good brand, go on a website that is a specialist of art supplies. and then you will be able to make the difference between student grade and artist grade. Another idea could be to offer your friend or your artist person some nice packaging to tidy up their working area. So here it is a glass jar, which was a candy jar, but I think it looks quite pretty. So anything that could upgrade their working space could be a good idea, like nice ceramic pots to hold their brushes or things like that. So that could be nice. Also, maybe an easel to make sure that the paper is not laying flat, and if it is a bit upward, then it allows the water to move, and it is more organic when you do some watercolor. So there are some models that can be used on a table or a desk. I will put a picture somewhere in one of the corners. You could also think of a very nice or comfortable chair for their desk when they are working, or maybe a little tripod stool or collapsible or foldable stool if they like to paint outdoors in plein air. A good lamp or a wall organizer where they could attach things and put some pots with their brushes, their pens, and all their stuff that they're using. A little trolley also could be a good idea to organize their things. They could stock their supplies like their sketchbooks, their paints, their palettes, their brushes, some snacks, and everything they need when they paint. Another type of supply that is running low when you're using them is paper. So a good block of paper could be a good idea. So there are many brands, Bahong, Arches, Annemule, there are many things. And even if you don't really know what their preferences are, it doesn't really matter because it could be an opportunity to try new supplies, and I think it is always exciting to try something a bit new. Usually, watercolor artists prefer 100% cotton paper because it allows better fusions between the colors. But there are also some mixed papers that can be interesting, like the mix of cotton and agave, or cotton and bamboo, or cotton and sugarcane. These are interesting blends that are created by a brand called Annemule. I have tried them as samples and I found them interesting to work with. You could also gift your friend or your loved one a nice sketchbook because we all love sketchbook, let's be honest. And the interest of a sketchbook is that you can refer to your work and it is a bit more tidy, a bit more organized than just random sheets of paper that you don't really know where to store when you're done painting them. So I think that's why I like sketchbooks. And because they exist in different shapes and different sizes, it allows you or it allows them to try different things. So I have three sketchbooks at the moment. There is this one, which is an A5 sketchbook in landscape format. This is the brand Animula. This one is sketchbook with cellulose paper. So it's not the preferred paper for watercolor artists, but this one is not too bad for a cellulose paper. It can take a certain amount of water, as you can see, so you can still achieve nice results. And this one might be nice for people who like to paint outside and do things like urban sketching, for example, because sometimes we need to go quite quick and it dries a bit quicker, so it might be nice for this kind of use. Also in the same brand and the same line, I have another one that is an A6 size in a portrait format this time. So this one is smaller and more compact, so it is easier to carry on an everyday basis. And because the format is a bit different, you can try different things in there. So I think it could be another idea. So this brand is quite appreciated by people who do travel journals and urban sketching. But they also exist with cotton paper, but they're a bit more expensive. These are fairly accessible. This one cost me around 14 euros, and this one about 21 or something like that. I have also another sketchbook that is a bit fancier in terms of quality. This is this one by the brand Etcher, and this one is 100% cotton. But because the square shape isn't as popular as the landscape shape or the portrait shape, it is a bit less expensive than the other shapes. And I think it can be interesting to try this square shape because it's a bit more unusual, and it will help your friend or your loved one explore new ideas and new a new process maybe. So I have not painting anything yet in this one, but these ones are very popular. A good idea also could be to offer a sort of pencil case that allows to organize their supplies. It can be handy when they go somewhere or even on their desk because then everything is at the same spot. So that one was not too expensive, and in here I can fit some brushes, some pens, and even my palette and the little sketchbook in the A6 format. There are also things that are a bit more artsy, which look like some kind of wraps. They look really cute and cool, but these are just fine and more affordable. Another idea is to replace their brushes because paints, paper, and brushes are going to age or are going to change over time. So there are different types. I would recommend these brushes from Pentel, which are water brushes. They have a water tank that is built in already, and they are very convenient if you want to paint outside because you don't need to bring a pot with water with you, and it is a bit more mess free when you're outside. So I think they're very convenient, and this brand is a good one. And there is a set of three like this one that exists, and I think it's quite nice to have the set of three because you have three different sizes, so then you can use them for different formats and different types of use. So I think this is a good offer. Another idea is to offer a set of travel brushes. So this is an inexpensive travel brush set that I found on Amazon. So brushes in general are very expensive, and this one was not too expensive. I think I paid 17 euros for the whole set. So there are three travel brushes with three different sizes, and the sizes of this set are really nice. So it is a set from the brand Golden Maple. I chose to buy some brushes with synthetic hair or synthetic bristles because I care about animals and I don't really need to sacrifice animals for my art, even if natural hair is better to retain water for watercolor. I think these are okay and they work fine. So you see when they're assembled, they do not wobble, and they are quite convenient because when you're traveling, you can unscrew this part and then it is smaller and the bristles are protected inside the barrel. So I think a set of travel brushes like this one can be a good idea because it is a bit a two-in-one article. I think it is better to buy this type of brushes rather than buying normal brushes plus a set of travel brushes. These can be used both at home and when you're traveling. So I think they are a bit more multi-purpose than just normal brushes. And they look cute. Another idea also could be to offer a new palette to the person who you like. So last year I asked my husband to offer me this new palette here because I had a large one for my student grade watercolors, but I wanted to try to paint outdoors and it was too heavy and too cumbersome. So a smaller palette can be a good idea to try to experiment and go outside and travel with their art supplies. So this one is not very fancy, but the good feature about this one is that it has 3 mixing areas in the lid. Most palettes only have 2 spaces here instead of 3, and it is a bit more convenient to have 3, so it could be a nice upgrade to their supplies. You could also choose to offer a metal palette that is decorated, so I will put an example somewhere. Or in the brand Roman Schmoll that I mentioned earlier, they also created a small palette that is about that size, and they can come with paint inside. I think there are 8 half pans that are provided with the palette, or they can come empty if you prefer. And there are 4 colors that are absolutely beautiful. So there is an apricot color, sky blue, baby pink, and gold, and they look really cute. So I will put a picture also somewhere. Another palette that I would love to have is the Art Toolkit travel palette. The medium size I think is a good size, and it is something I would never buy on my own because it is expensive. But if you have a very nice budget for this present, I think it could be a wonderful idea because usually we hesitate about spending too much on art supplies, or we feel bad about it sometimes, and we do not dare to invest in those art supplies. And I think I would be very pleased if somebody offered me this palette because it is very slim and very lightweight, so it is very portable and very good for traveling or for carrying around with you. So I'll put a picture somewhere as well for this palette by Art Toolkit. Another idea is to gift your friend or your loved one some fine liners and gel pens to add some details to their art. So there are 2 brands I would recommend for fine liners. And the important feature is to find a fine liner with a water resistant ink because you're going to use water with watercolor. So choosing something with a water resistant ink will prevent it from smudging on your paper. So the first brand I tried was the Pigma Microns like this. They are perfectly fine and they exist in different sizes and different colors. They come in black, gray, sepia, brown, but also many colors like red, blue, pink, purple, and orange, and many others. So there is a quite wide variety of colors, but I think the most useful colors for somebody who does watercolor would be black, brown or sepia, and gray. So a little mix of these could be a good idea. I also tried the brand Unipin, and I have tried them in brown and in black. And I think I even prefer these over the Pigma Micron that I initially tried. I think the tip of these is a bit more resistant. It lasts a bit longer. And I wanted to try the gray color. I tried it in my artwork, but in my artwork, I prefer using black. But in order to write next to my art, I like using the gray because it is a bit more muted than the black, and I think this muted color matches quite well with watercolor. So I think it could be a nice idea also, and they come in different colors. They exist in black, gray, sepia, and brown as well. Another idea is to gift your friend or loved one some white gel pens to add little touches of light in their artwork. I really recommend the jelly roll pens by the brand Sakura. I have tried different brands and this is the one I prefer. I think they're really reliable and they work really fine. I have tried the fine Posca ones, but I didn't like it because the paint flow was not regular, and sometimes I had some accidents with it, so I didn't really like it. I've tried the Uniball Signo as well, but I didn't like it as much as this one. And another one, I can't remember the brand and the name, but really these are the ones I prefer and those I recommend. You could also think of gold gel pen if they want to add some gold details in their art. It could be nice in any kind of art, in florals, in abstract art, or even in urban sketching if there are gilded details on some buildings, for example. So all these could be nice ideas. Um, you could also think of little clips like that with magnets to hold the palette, for example, on the sketchbook. And why not fountain pens? Because sometimes people who paint outside or travel journal or do urban sketching also like using fountain pens. So the one I have is this Asvine P30 fountain pen. This one has piston in order to fill the body of the pen with ink, and it is filled with this ink, which is the platinum carbon ink in black, and this is a water resistant ink. The only drawback of this pen is that it is quite heavy, so when I want to carry that in my bag, I think it is a bit too heavy. But it is very reliable and it looks quite fancy. I like the brass style of the cap of the pen. And I would be tempted to try a fountain pen that would be lighter when I go outside. So maybe a Lamy Safari or a Cavico Sports. These are very popular among urban sketchers, but contrary to this one, you need to add a convertible cartridge because otherwise it will not be possible to use this type of ink with them. So if you want to offer something like a Cavico or a Lamy Safari, which are good fountain pens, don't forget to gift the ink converter as well. Usually those fountain pens cost around 20 euros, so they're not too expensive. This one was more expensive, it was almost 40 euros. Another nice idea is this collapsible cup from Faber-Castell. It is nice for traveling because it folds and then it is smaller. But even if you don't use it to travel, it is a very nice cup for watercolor because of its silicone texture. It is not slippery, contrary to glass, and I think it prevents accidents from happening when you're painting on your desk. When I was using a jar with water and the jar was made of glass, it happened a few times that I spilled some water, and it never happened with that one. And also you can see this shape at the top. It helps putting your brush or your pen like that, and it holds in place. So it is quite handy and cleverly made. Another idea of supply that could be interesting for somebody who practices watercolor is some masking fluid. And usually I buy the one that is in a bottle and I have to use or sacrifice a paintbrush in order to use it. And it is not very easy to use in this way. But they also exist like markers, and the markers are much more convenient to use, but they're more expensive. So on my own, I would not buy the marker because I think I can still achieve something with that one. But if you wanted to make the art of your friend or your loved one easier and more pleasant, you could offer a marker with masking fluid. it would make things more how would you say, more pleasant to draw or more enjoyable, simply. Um, okay, now let's imagine that you don't really want to offer supplies because you don't know what to choose. You could simply offer a gift card from a shop online that is specialized in art supplies, or a gift card from the local craft or art shop where your friend or loved one is accustomed to go. So to me, it would be a great idea. If even if I don't really need art supplies right now, I know that in the course of the year I may need new supplies, and it's always a bit of a dilemma to spend some money on that because it's always a bit expensive. So having a gift card would be something nice to know that even in the future I can buy some more art supplies and continue creating. Now, if you have somebody who's trying to be a bit more minimalistic with their supplies, a good idea could be to offer an online class. There are many platforms that have very interesting classes, I think. So that was one I was interested in. It is called Domestica, but there are other platforms that are quite similar. And here you could offer a specific course to the person or a subscription for a certain amount of time. So that's a great idea. Even if it's not a material idea, it is still very precious because they will be able to build new skills or get new ideas, or they will discover new ways to use the supplies they already have. So I think it is also a great idea. You could also book a workshop to learn how to create their own sketchbooks. So in the main city of my region, there is a shop where they are specialized in book binding, and regularly they have workshops where you can go and spend an afternoon to learn how to create your own sketchbook. And this is a very good idea too, because then if they are creative, they can really customize their sketchbook to their liking. And I think it can be a lot of fun too. So, my last idea would be to offer some frames to your loved one or your friend in order to frame their favorite artwork. And this is a way to say, be proud of what you do, and I like what you do. And for example, recently, in the last year and a half, I have painted a very long series of watercolors around the theme of the Lord of the Rings, and there are so many paintings that I made that I would like to see in a frame. So this afternoon, I made a sort of mosaic in my corridor to fill my wall with my watercolors. And I sent a picture to my mom saying, well, I would like to have some frames in order to frame my paintings. I would like to set them in this way. So I will put a picture somewhere. And I recommended that if she offers me some frames for my artwork, she also provides some sticky things that you can put at the back of the frame in order to attach your frame to the wall without having to do a hole in the wall. So it is a mess-free solution. And of course, I don't think my mom will buy all the frames, but I have seen some frames that were the right size on Amazon and they were not too expensive. So maybe some other people in my family will be interested in buying some frames for me. And I think it is also a very nice and cool idea. So I hope I gave you ideas and that you liked the video. Have a nice day. Bye.